So then, it is once again all about the laws of motion, that is involving forces. But the approach is different. Different concept on forces is what we can say now. And here what we have got is a pulley. And a string is passing over a pulley. On one side the mass is more, and on the other side the mass is less. So naturally there will be motion in the side of the greater mass. So this is what will be the motion. So we have to find out many unknown things in the resulting motion. And of course, when you keep the two masses on the two ends of the string will be tight. When the string will be tight, inside the string a force will be there. That force on a string is what is called the tension. This tension will act opposite of the downward force. So there will be some balancing. So like that, for this tension, there will be tension on the other side of the string. Because throughout the string will be tight, so tension will be there throughout the entire length of the string. On the other side, the tension will be having an opposing effect of what was there in the earlier position. The reason is that the tension T in one direction and on the other side tension T in the opposite direction, opposite, so both will cancel out. If both are not cancelling out, supposing somebody says that, sir, one side it is upward means other side also it will be upwards only. If that is applied here, then what happens? T is upward in both the direction. So tension here and tension here, both will pull the rope for more and more length. So the rope length will increase in size. That is never possible. Or it can decrease in size. That is also never possible. So that is why the forces on the two ends will have to get cancelled. So it is therefore clear that for the string to be always tight, never become loose, the two forces in the string should be opposite, they will get cancelled out. So size of the length, that is the length, will be the same throughout because the forces get cancelled out. And hence on the other side, the tension will be opposite of the tension which is there on the earlier side. So remember, like that here also, the two tensions will have to balance. So one side tension is down, then the other side also tension is down. If both sides tension is in the same direction, upwards, 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 and down, 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 then both will pull the string in the same direction. So length of the string will be increased, which is never possible. So that is why on the other side also the tension will be the same. To balance this tension, on the other side, the tension at the two ends will be also opposing one another. They should also cancel. Otherwise this length will increase or decrease, which is impossible. So that is why the tension on the other side will be opposite of the first one. And also equal. Opposite side, but one is more than the other. That slightly greater will result in the net tension not equal to 0. So that will move the string on one side more than what it was before, which is again never possible. Here the assumption that we are making is the string is inextensible. So cannot be extended. So that is why you cannot keep the forces at the ends in the same direction. So both force will add up and the length will increase. All that is impossible. So now this problem can be solved in two different ways. One is by taking only one mass, cover it with an imaginary box. Here I would like to tell you one secret. Even though it is said to many people, still they are committing mistakes. You see here that one tension is outside the box. And here maybe another force downwards is all inside the box. Inside the two forces, we'll have to cancel. They are internal. And it can be better understood by taking a bar into account. If I apply a force from outside and the bar is not moving from here, then another force on the other side will be acting in the opposite direction. If we take only this part, not only the whole bar, but part of the bar is also at rest, it means that this part will balance. For balancing of this part, inside the bar there is one internal force which will balance this. And that will cause a tension. This tension equal to F, so this part is balanced, so this part will also not move separately. So like that, inside, if you take this tension, T and T, they will also have to cancel. Otherwise, if both are there in the same direction, the length of the bar will increase at that point, which is not happening. So the two tensions inside, they will cancel. So when you take any body, internally the net force will be 0. So like that here, everywhere you will find that to balance this, if you take only this part, it is remaining there only, therefore there must be an opposing force, but that opposing force is inside, internally, or inside the bar. So if you take only the internal force anywhere, take these two. They are opposites. Cancel. Equal also they are. So like that, anywhere you take, there will be equal and opposite forces, they will all get cancelled. So like that, what you do is, for simplification's sake, when you have to find something unknown, then you take a box, cover everything excepting the unknown force. That unknown force, you do some arrangement such that it is outside the box, so it will become external to that system there. And external means only internal forces will all get balanced. This, no, externally it is not getting balanced with outside forces. So that is why if you take a part of this bar, again this is the force which is not balanced. Internally everything is balancing with one another. So no unbalanced force will remain. Therefore this is not balanced. So this will be trying to pull the length of the bar. So also is this force. So when you happen to cover some space internally, then in that whatever vectors are there must balance. Otherwise there will be movement at that point. So only the external force that we have seen just now remains unbalanced. So here you can see that the box is covering the mass. So whatever force is acting on the mass, they will also be balanced by the opposing force. Remaining force which is outside the box, see, this is outside the box, external. No balancing force from outside. Here, this is also external. So whatever external forces are there, we should try to balance somehow. Like that, we will find out the unknown force. So now, if you put a box around M2, then inside this box, whatever force is acting on M2 will all cancel. Proof is here. Internally, everything will cancel. So that is why only force will remain unbalanced. So taking all the external force for this mass, that you write the equation and you find out how it will balance, and in that any one force only, if it is unknown, you find that. These are the concepts, I said again, not given in the books. So only by practice, only by attending to good classes, you will be able to understand all of this. So, this force, if you see it externally, here there is no balancing force. So like that, if you see it externally, no balancing force. So externally, this is not balanced, this is not balanced. So all the external force, you take it, that you separately balance it out by writing the equation. And this is how we solve the problems in such circumstances, for such concepts. It is a concept on force itself, remember. Okay, so then what we have is, for this mass, there is one force acting outwards, and that is the weight itself, and that weight is equal to m2 into g. All that we have studied before. The force outside this mass, we have called it as T. So if you draw a box in such a manner that inside the body, inside this mass m2, whatever force is there, all that will get cancelled out. All of them will get cancelled out. That is why we should take only the external forces. Whatever be the boundary you have taken, outside the boundary whatever forces are there, that only you should take and balance. Inside whatever is there, it is already balancing with one another, therefore leave it out. Already balancing with one another, so leave it out. So like that, when you take for M2 an enclosure, then whatever outside force is there for this enclosure, for this box. This is one outside, this is another outside. Outside to this, one is one outside force is tension, another is M2G. So let us say that this is bigger, so this will move down, this is lighter, so it will move upwards. So this will be the direction of motion. So outside the box, whatever forces are there, no other balancing force is there, so this is the only force. It will remain unbalanced. Like that, another outward external force, unbalanced this side. So like that, all outward forces should balance. So that is why what we do is, same thing, same concept. Remember, here the motion is upwards. So take the upward force as supporting the motion. So the supporting force minus the opposing force is equal to the mass into the acceleration. And in the direction of motion, tension is the supporting force and motion is upwards. So this downward force will be opposing. So M to G will be the opposing force. And the mass here is M2. So M2 into the acceleration. We'll call it as equation 1. Now go to the other side. Take box here. If we take one box here, then inside whatever forces are there, it will all get cancelled, because see here, everywhere force will be acting. All these forces inside the box will get cancelled. And this outside force, the tension, there is no balancing force here itself. So that becomes an unbalanced force at this point. Like that here, M1G is the unbalanced force. M1, we have taken it to be greater, so that mass will be therefore pulling the other mass, so this will be moving downwards. So motion. Now motion is down. In the downward direction, M1G is there. So M1G is supporting the motion. So that will become the supporting force. And M1G. Motion is down. See here that the tension is acting opposite. So it is opposing the motion. So we will call it as opposing force, the tension T. That is equal to, there the mass is M1 into the acceleration. Equation 2. What you now do is, add both. T minus T will cancel. So you will get M1G minus M2G is equal to, when you add both here, you will get M1 plus M2 into the acceleration. So from here, the acceleration will be M1 minus M2. G is common, I am taking it out, so we will get only M1 minus M2 within the bracket. G of course is common, so take it out. And then in the denominator we will have M1 plus M2. So quite easy to remember. Or A will be equal to M1 minus M2 divided by M1 plus M2. So one is M1 minus, another is M2 plus into G. So this is going to be the grand old equation for problem solving with regards to connected masses. So we have got the value of the acceleration. So now what you do is, putting this value of acceleration in any one equation, here or here, in equation 2. See what we will get. From 1, we will get T minus M2 into G is equal to M2 into A. And A is equal to, just now we have seen, M1 minus M2 divided by M1 plus M2 into G. Now, more simplification. We want to find the value of T. So, everything else, you take it to one side of the equation. So, you will get or T is equal to M1, M2. Or we'll do the simplification of first. First, bring everything to one side of the equation. So, we will get M1 G minus M2 G. And to both the terms outside, we are having M2, dividing it by M1 plus M2 into, that's all. Then this minus M2 into G coming the other side becomes plus M2 into G. Now take LCM and do the simplification again. So that will be equal to M1G into M2. So I will call it as M1, M2 into G minus M2 into M2. So it will be M2 square into G. M2 square into G. Then this one is plus. So when you take LCM, you will get M1, M2 into G. M1, M2 into G. Then M2 into M2 square you will get plus M2 square into G. And you will now have a common denominator because you have taken LCM. So you will get just M1 plus M2. So now minus M2 squared into G plus M2 squared into G gone. So what we are having is M1 M2 G plus M1 M2 G again. So you will therefore get the tension T will be equal to M1 M2 is 2 times. So 2 M1 M2 dividing it by M1 plus M2. Then of course you can see in the remaining terms G is there for both. So that G will be common, write it out separately. So the equation for tension, one equation we have got it for acceleration, which is equal to M1 minus M2 divided by M1 plus M2 into G. And then the second equation goes for the tension, which is equal to 2 M1 M2 divided by M1 plus M2, the whole thing multiplied by G. We have got the second equation also. Okay, so now you know the length that has been consumed to write this equation. But as a shortcut for this, what you do is you take this element which is in the box. Take this entire arrangement. Then see what happens. Well, everything is inside T. So now all the T on all sides will get cancelled because it is within the box, means it is an internal force. And I have to tell you that the external forces will remain unbalanced. So take all the external force, you write the equation for that, balancing it. So what we now have is that M1G here, M2G. That's all. They are both external. So we will get M1G plus M2G is equal to, so net force for within a bound, unbalanced external force. So all external force you have to, so that will be equal to mass and acceleration. Now when you take entire, then 2 mass motion. So the total mass will be M1 plus M2 into A. That's all, man. See, find the value of A now. A will be equal to M1 plus M2. Oh, 1 minute. I'm sorry. You see, again, the direction is important here. This is moving down. And the force is also acting down. So it becomes the acting force. Here, it is moving up. This force is, so this it will become an opposing force. Therefore, this is minus. So, a minus sign will come here. Then, the denominator, total mass, is m1 plus m2. See, we have got it, man. How easily we are able to get it. The g is also there. After quite some length, whatever be the value of the acceleration, we have got the same acceleration, we have got it in 2. So, it's a shortcut. Nobody can find out the mistake here. When there are only one step, then where is the question of finding mistakes? Okay. So, nobody can find out the mistake. So, this is one method which is just one step and find the acceleration. Okay. So, it is already derived but by a longer method. Sometimes this is useful, sometimes this whole box will be useful. So when this is so easy, we get the result in one step, then why use these boxes also? That is also important. Suppose the question is find the tension. Find the tension here, T1, or find the tension T2. If that is the question, if we take the whole lot, then that is always within the box, within the enclosure, it becomes internal, and internal forces will all be balanced, it will get cancelled out. So under such circumstances, if you want to find a T, it should be made an unbalanced force. This is that unbalanced force. You can see now this is unbalanced. So this becomes an unbalanced force, then T will come in the equation, find a T, what we are having here. So under such circumstances, a coverage which is part of the total system will be of some help. Whatever is internal for one box is becoming an external force for the other box. So depending upon the question, sometimes we have to select covering the entire system as the boundary. Sometimes we have to cover a part of the system for one box, that is as a boundary. Okay, there is now one more result left out which we have to find out. And that is the thrust. You see, the pulley is held by a string like this. This is the string. Pulley is held. This is the pulley. So over that, if a string is passing, the two masses on that will rotate the pulley like this. And for that, what you have seen is that there is one tension one side, another tension on the side. And whatever be the entire system, that entire lot is balanced by this upward force which is called the thrust in the system. So the thrust which balances the entire system will balance. You have to take the force that is there under consideration. This T is acting on the pulley. This T is also acting on the pulley. Thrust is also acting on the pulley. But this M1G, M2G, that is separate. That is not acting on this pulley. So for taking forces on the pulley, don't forces which are in the system but outside the pulley. So don't do all that. So when you take only the pulley, then forces acting on the pulley only should be taken into account. You see, if we take a body, forces can act in so many different places. If you want to take point S only, these two forces are not acting here. So don't take this when you are trying to do the balancing on the point S. Point S. Like that here also. When you take this point, or when you take the pulley, forces acting on the pulley only should be taken into account for balancing. Others are not acting on the pulley, then why do you want to take it? There will be a mess around. So that is why thrust upwards on the pulley, two forces downwards, they should balance. So thrust is equal to T. One side T, another side, that is equal to 2T. We know the value of T and put it here. So the thrust TH will be equal to 2 into T. T is equal to 2 m1 m2 by m1 plus m2 and into G. So 2 here, another 2 outside, therefore the thrust on the pulley will be equal to 4 m1 m2 divided by m1 plus m2 into G. Now the three equations that we have got, all of them are damn important, because for finding the force there is only one equation, tension. For finding the acceleration there is only one equation. For finding the thrust, again there is only one equation. So there is no two equation for finding the thrust. There is no two equation for finding the tension. There is no two equation for finding the acceleration. So all of them are damn important, because only one unknown can be found out from these three different equations. Not this equation. We'll try another equation. You cannot solve the problem itself. So regarding connecting masses, these are the three equations. Taking that into account, let us work out questions.